Okay, so now we're in the house. In the house, I'm going to talk about what makes a solid sale after we go through this, but part of it is getting in the house, in my opinion. I think it makes it more solid, it gives you more time in there, but we'll talk about that later. So this is where the lesson happens. I call it a lesson. The reason I call it a lesson is because I think that most people have never been taught why solar makes sense. They don't get it. So they don't want to admit that they don't get it because, especially here in California, we talk about it so much, they hear about it so much that they feel like they should know it already. So if they have to admit to you that they don't know about it, or if they have to ask you questions about it that are somewhat elementary, they're going to feel dumb, it's going to put them out of their comfort zone, and they're just going to shut down. So I talk to them very simply and I make it very easy. I talk to them like I'm talking to my kids. So just because I want them to know that, look, most people don't get this. If you do, wow, that's great. But it's a complicated thing, and we have to understand that it's somewhat complicated. If we can't explain it simply and clearly, then we're going to lose customers and not know why, and that's going to be pretty frustrating. So as I come in, as we go to sit down, as they're still standing, I'll say, oh, actually, could you grab the bill real quick? That's where I try to get the bill. I can't always get one. Whatever, doesn't make a huge difference to me. I want them to get a bill so I can show them on their actual bill, and I need to get the bill anyways. With PG&E, just take a picture of the account and meter number. Different for SCE, different for San Diego. Well, everything's different. So anyways, as they're doing that, I'm chatting with the other spouse or kind of chatting with them as they grab the bill. I want it to be light, I want it to be casual. I'm a normal guy. That's kind of where I'm starting to establish that. So the lesson, I'm basically doing three things: how your utility company works, how we work, and how we make money. Again, this is very simplified versions of this, but I just want this to be extremely simple. So as they grab their bill, let's just pretend this is their bill. So I have a copy of the bill here. So as I grab the bill, I actually go to where it says here, I'll say, okay, so I don't know how familiar you are with this stuff, and I actually say that every time. I don't know how familiar you are with this stuff. I'm not patronizing you in any way. I'm just gonna go through it so you understand kind of how this program works. So right here you can see that this number. So every house uses a certain amount of electricity. Some use a lot of electricity, some use a little bit. It's measured in kilowatt hours. It's just like a car. Some use a lot of gas, some use a little bit of gas. Same idea. For whatever reason, your house uses this much electricity. The way PG&E charges you is in this tiered system. So in the first tier, for the first whatever 300 kilowatts, kilowatt hours of electricity, they charge you 16 point whatever cents, whatever. And I just go through that with them. And then I say, so last month, you guys paid $167.91 for 671 kilowatt hours of electricity. And I do it on my calculator. That means you guys paid 23 cents per kilowatt hour. The way this program works is that 671 kilowatt hours, we charge you 15 cents. Your new bill is $100. So you save $70, you don't pay us anything to do it. It's very simple. Okay? So I explained that first. So I guess before I start explaining how the utility company works, what I mean by this is I explain how their bill works, and then specifically with PG&E, this is how they do it, their tiers. So I explain how that works, okay? Then I explain how we work. It's simple. And then I actually go through this again. I told them on the door the problem. The problem is we're getting our power from out of state, so they have to ship here and it's expensive. We don't have to ship it from out of state when we're making power on your roof. So I pull this out in the packet. I bet a lot of people use this because it's so simple. And I just say, again, the reason that your bill is what it is because you're buying your power from a traditional power plant out of state. They're shipping it through the power lines into your home. With PG&E, on the back of their bill, it shows the breakdown, and it says transmission and distribution. And I'll actually show them that, and I'll say, transmission and distribution is the shipping, and that's costing you, $80 of your $167, so it's about 50% of your bill. If you can eliminate that, it's just cheaper. That's it. So now with this, we make the power on your roof, and you don't have to ship it. That's it. That's how this program works. So again, it's very, very simple. And then I'll always explain to them how we make money. This does two things for me. The first thing it does is it helps them understand the business, because most people don't get it. It also it also helps validate the offer. So what I mean by that is when I say, the number one question I get is, how do you guys make money? And I'll say, I get it. It's not very often that someone comes to you and says, hey, you know, we're going to give this to you and it's cheaper. That doesn't make any sense to you guys. That's validating the offer, and I'm assuming the sale, because I'm saying, look, you're obviously going to do this if it's a real thing. Let me show you why it's a real thing. But I'm validating that by saying, look, I'm sure you're thinking the same thing everyone does. Of course we'll do it, but how does it make sense? That's what I'm setting up here. So how we make money, and I just explained it to them. Different customers you can go into a little bit more in depth, but basically all I'm trying to get across is there's three people involved. There's you, there's PG&E, and then there's VSLR, which will not be there much longer. So what I would do is I'd say, okay, so how long have you guys lived in the house? 20-something years. So 20 years ago, you guys made an agreement with PG&E, and you decided you chose them to get your electricity from. They usually tell me, well, we didn't choose them, we had to, which I want, obviously. So I'll say, okay, whatever the reason, you guys came to an agreement that you would pay 23 cents per kilowatt hour. That's the reason you have electricity right now. So the reason that price is what that price is, remember, is they're shipping it, so that all that cost breaks down into price per kilowatt hour. So now we're doing the same thing. It's just we're not having to get the power from far away and ship it. We're just doing it on your roof. So we charge you a little bit less because it's cheaper for us to use your roof than to buy property in California and make electricity and ship it to you. That's the same process as PG&E. So if we can do it on your roof, it's cheaper for us, and it just happens to be cheaper for you as well. So I'll usually go into, at this point, I'll explain, you know, the law in California that has to be a third of the power coming from renewables. So any system we put on someone's roof, it stores into the grid, and it helps PG&E as well. So they just kind of see how everyone benefits from it, and that's all they need. Very simple. Sometimes I go a little more in depth. I'm not going to go through it on here, but that's how I do it. It's very, very simple. As I'm doing this stuff, the reason you see all these phrases written next to these is because the entire time I'm saying things like, so the reason